guys, what is up? NXT Takeover Vengeance Day just finished up. One hell of a show. Another amazing takeover show. Here, Rated R for Wrestling back. Welcome guys to the channel. Welcome to the studio. I'm running solo on this review. I'm gonna give a review and reaction of this whole thing, how everything went down, what I thought of the matches from top to bottom, the interesting ending of the show with a little bit of a betrayal towards the end, and all that good stuff. So I appreciate you guys for joining me here. Let's get into it. First thing I want to drop was the big reveal before the show started, and that was the reveal of a new NXT superstar, formerly known as Eli Drake, now known as LA Knight. There you go, LA Knight right there, showing up in front of Wade Barrett and whatever guy from Barstool that was. Have no idea who the hell that dude was, but he was there. And yeah, Eli Drake, formerly known as Eli Drake. You see him right here. Now he's named LA Knight, and I guess it is what it is, LA Knight. We'll see what happens. I don't understand the name really, why the hell they gave him a name like that, but it's the name they gave him, so we'll see where it goes from here. He's signing officially with NXT. There is also rumors right now currently that it's pretty much confirmed that Taya Valkyrie, the wife of John Morrison on the main roster, is signed to WWE, signed to NXT. She will debut on NXT TV, most likely under the same name, most likely. But yeah, I'm interested as to, seeing her here, and obviously I'm interested on LA Knight and what's going on with this guy and how that's going to end up turning out. Michael, NXT. Yeah, so we got LA Knight. We have Taya Valkyrie showing up. That's just rumored, but it's pretty much official. But LA Knight, aka Eli Drake, showing up at NXT, now official NXT superstar. So we'll see how that turns out, but it should be pretty interesting. So let's get into the match card, and the first match of the night was the Women's Dusty Rhodes Classic, the finals. You had Shotzi and Ember Moon taking on Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. I thought this was a really good match to start off the show, and I like the way they worked around, Raquel Gonzalez. The fact that they tried to eliminate her as much out of the match, and when she was the part she had in the match, she was extremely dominant. So I thought that was the best part of the match, just the way they worked that part. Dakota Kai is really good in her role currently, just kind of bumping around, taking the bumps for everything. And, I really enjoy the rise of Shotzi Blackheart and how good she's gotten. Eric in the chat, what's up, Eric? Home is where you make it. Yeah. Fuck it, Eric. So I really enjoyed that part. And like I said, the rise of Shotzi Blackheart. I really do enjoy Shotzi. Me and Mike always liked her, her shtick of how she comes out with the tank and all that cool stuff like that. So that's always been good. But her and Ember Moon are a good tag team together. They work well together. So are Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. They've actually really grown as a tag team, and they continue to improve. But big bumps from Shotzi Blackheart took one hell of a power bomb against the steel mesh on the side, and it fell hard after that. But it was a good back and forth matchup between all four women involved. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez get the win and are your Dusty Rhodes Classics Women's Champions. So they will eventually get a shot at Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, if they still are the tag team champions. So it should be pretty interesting. But I do like them as a tag team, and I do like Shotzi, Ember Moon as a tag team. And I think that with these two teams, they should definitely be tag team champions, because Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax are just terrible as tag team champions. The team doesn't work well. It's wrong and it's wild. So I think they should just switch the titles to them. I don't know when this match would happen. Maybe a Mania weekend it'll happen. But it'd be pretty interesting to see. But I think Kai and Gonzalez would probably win those tag team titles. It'd be pretty cool to see them. Raquel Gonzalez continues to look strong. She gets the pin here. It was a double pin, but Raquel Gonzalez was the one dominating, and yeah, it's just continue to build her, and she's definitely going head on against Io Shirai in the near future. But it was a tremendous opening to the matchup, to the night with this match, and it was hard hitting, strong, and a really good start to the match. And I'm gonna give this one a B+ in terms of on the grading scale, because it's a really good way to start the show. It really was a really good way to start the show. Next thing on the show was the NXT North American Championship match. You had Kushida taking on Johnny Gargano. It was interesting because before the matchup, you see the Way walking in the backstage. They're walking, and Austin Theory gets abducted by Dexter Lumis. He gets the chloroform to the face, and Dexter Lumis abducts him. So this is the way to get the Way out of the match. So they're no longer in the match, and they're taken out because they're searching for Austin Theory. So I thought that was pretty funny and an interesting way to put that out there for us to have like just a straight one-on-one match between Gargano and Kushida, and they delivered. We all knew they would deliver. The two tremendous workers in the ring. And Kushida's, continuing. He has the gimmick that he has, which is kind of like the Marty McFly time splitter gimmick. I don't know how it's going to work out eventually later on, if they're going to keep him in that gimmick and how far they can take it. Again, he doesn't do much on the mic, so it's tough to build him that way. But it was a tremendous technical matchup, a lot of big spots in the match, and these two guys work really, really well together. So I really, really enjoyed the entire matchup. It was very well done, and Gargano ends up getting the win clean win here. I kind of felt like the ending of the match just kind of happened, and it wasn't really like a big surprise or it didn't have a big impact at finish of the match. But the match was really, really good. It probably is most likely the second best match of the night. Probably the main event is the best match of the night. But it was really good, and it was interesting. They went with a clean finish on Kushida for Gargano to win. But Gargano continues to stake his claim as Johnny Takeover. He continues to deliver on every single Takeover event he's been on, and we'll see that continue into the future. But very, very good match. Especially you try to off the hot start with the tag team match. You go to this match, it has to deliver as well, because you could have a bit of a drop off with the first match of the night being so good. This could have been a drop off, but it held its own, and it really, really came off really well in the end between the two, Kushida and Johnny Gargano. But Gargano's still North American champion. We'll see what happens with the whole Dexter Lumis Austin Theory thing, because that's pretty interesting. What happens with Austin Theory and Dexter Lumis? Now, eventually, will Dexter Lumis get his shot at the NXT North American Championship? We'll see what happens. But again, tremendous match. I'm gonna give this one an A. Between these two, Gargano and Kushida. Gargano still your NXT North American champion. It's probably the right call to keep the belt. I don't think Kushida right now is the guy to take it off. Maybe they have a couple more matches in the future, and then you have Kushida eventually win this title. But for now, I think it's best to keep it on Johnny Gargano. He's doing some of the better work in terms of character development, in terms of stuff on the mic, and just entertaining stuff. So it makes a lot of sense to have him as their North American champion right now, and have somebody, maybe eventually Kushida gets there, but right now I just don't think he's there in terms of character development. He doesn't do much on the mic. He's just kind of like the guy that's there. So good for Johnny Gargano. Next match on the show was the Men's Dusty Classic Finals. It was the Grizzled Young Vets taking on MSK, and there's another tremendous match. I mean, MSK is so damn athletic. The crazy moves that they spell out. Even you had the Grizzled Young Vets coming out with some big time moves themselves. One of them hit a 450 splash, and they had that cool Doomsday device on the outside where they had the guy on top of his shoulders, and then he came out through the ropes and hit a Doomsday device. That was an awesome spot. That crazy heart attack move, the Heart Foundation heart attack move they did, where he's holding him in like a atomic drop. The other guy flips into the ring and then flips on the turnbuckle and then comes back and drops him. That was nuts. But that was the way they ended up getting the win. And MSK, with their Cinderella run through the NXT Dusty Classic tournament, gets the win here, and is again Grizzled Young Vets come in second place, the bridesmaids to the winners of the Dusty Classic Cup. 2 years in a row that happens, and it's interesting that they went in the route of MSK. It seems they have a lot of confidence in MSK coming in and doing big things immediately, because they come in and they debut at the beginning of the tournament or in the tournament, and they just run through the whole thing and win the whole thing. So that's pretty interesting. They'll get their shot at Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch, which would be a pretty interesting clash of styles there, because Lorcan and Burch more mat-based wrestling. These guys are big high flyers, MSK. Now, it's interesting what happens with the Grizzly Young Veterans after this. So they stay in NXT? Do they go back to NXT UK? That'd be pretty interesting to see as to how this turns out afterwards, going on after here, how the Grizzly Young Vets are handled. But MSK wins, runs through the tournament, major push. You saw the the elation and the emotion coming out from both members of MSK as they won this and stood up for the Dusty Classic trophy. So they get the win, and they continue to rise up the rankings, and they'll eventually get their NXT Tag Team Championship matchup against Lorcan and Burch. Should be a pretty cool, interesting match. I guess there's a clash of styles there, and there's a bit of clash of styles here too. But Grizzly and Vets really pulled out some big time stops to try to compete with MSK's high flying acrobatic abilities. But Grizzly and Vets get the loss here. MSK Dusty Cup winners for 2021. So pretty interesting stuff there. Eric, MSK versus GYZ was really, it was really good. I'm gonna give that one an A as well. I'm gonna give it an A minus. Actually, I think it's a step below Gargano Kushida and 2 steps below Finn Balor Pete Dunne. So yeah, let's get through that. Next thing on the show was the triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship. He had Mercedes Martinez, Toni Storm going against the champion Io Shirai. We haven't seen Io Shirai in a match for a minute too. So they have the match here. I kind of felt like in the beginning it was a little off. But it picked up steam towards the middle and definitely towards the end of the matchup. I feel like towards the end, Martinez might have got hurt during that last moonsault from Io Shirai on top of Toni Storm and Mercedes Martinez. I feel like it might have hurt her knee because I think most of the brunt fell on the knee of Mercedes Martinez. So we'll see if she is in any having any issues after that. But she was, she was here basically to take the fall because they want to protect Toni Storm, and Martinez right now is in a spot where she just came back from Retribution. She's lucky as hell that she came back from Retribution, and now she's in NXT. She immediately goes for the title. So yeah, I think it was just mainly have her in this match to take the fall, so to protect Toni Storm, to keep Toni Storm at least looking somewhat strong going into a future feud, maybe against Io Shirai again, or if Raquel Gonzalez beats Shirai later on against Raquel Gonzalez. So the match itself was really good. Again, I'm gonna give this one an A minus. And yeah, interesting that we saw a diving headbutt from Toni Storm. You don't really normally see that much. You see Daniel Bryan do it every once in a while, but not too much anymore. So it's interesting that they went with that move in this matchup. But the match was really good, and Shirai retains by pinning Mercedes Martinez and Toni Storm at the same time. So it's pretty interesting matchup here, how this one worked out and how it came together. And I thought they would get more of a tease at the end as to Raquel Gonzalez coming for her and stuff like that, but they really didn't push that out there, which is pretty interesting to me as they didn't do that. I don't think they might go with the rematch route going into WrestleMania weekend. I just don't think they'll pull that off. I think they're really going to pull the trigger on Raquel Gonzalez taking on Io Shirai because they're just building her too much to not give her that spot right now. But yeah, I give this one an A minus. 3 stellar matches in a row. I mean, to be honest, it's just really good stuff. You have 4 really good matches. You have the women's tag, the North American Championship, the men's tag, and then you have this triple threat match, and then you get even crazier with a main event coming right after, which we're gonna jump into right now. NXT Championship match. You had Finn Balor versus Pete Dunne, like pretty much a dream matchup because most of these guys have never really crossed paths and ever had a match before. So it's cool to see these guys in a match, and it was very similar to the match between Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor. A lot of mat-based stuff, some big spots. With Pete Dunne, you're gonna get a lot of joint manipulation, stomping on fingers, cracking fingers, and stuff like that. He loves to do that stuff, so he pulls that out a lot in this matchup. And he's targeting the fingers because he did kind of like so break them a couple weeks ago on NXT television. But it was at one point he pretty much chokes out Finn Balor. Finn Balor's out, but Finn Balor got his foot on the rope, so he seems like he's out and knocked out, and he's unconscious. But Finn Balor can continue, but the referee kind of stops it, and then you see Pete Dunne come in and stomp Finn Balor in the head, and then continue on from there in the match. But at the end, in the end, the coup de grace, a 1916 finish, and Balor defeats Dunne to retain. I'm gonna give this one an A+. It was the best match of the night. It delivered on all fronts from top to bottom. We all knew it kind of would. The interesting was after the matchup, you have Pete Dunne, Oney Lorcan coming out to beat up on Finn Balor, along with Pete Dunne, all 3 of them beating up. Here comes Undisputed Era, minus Bobby Fish. You have Kyle O'Reilly, Roger Strong, Adam Cole showing up into the ring, and then they're helping out Finn Balor. They all stand in the ring together like they're going to team up, and now they're like a crew. He's a pseudo member of the Undisputed Era, but then you have the super kick from hell, super kick from Adam Cole to Finn Balor, knocking him out. Kyle O'Reilly is extremely upset by this, and then Kyle O'Reilly super kicks. He drops Kyle O'Reilly. Adam Cole does. He drops Kyle O'Reilly, and yeah, this is crazy. Now Kyle O'Reilly seems to be out of the Undisputed Era, so the Undisputed Era is a trio now with Bobby Fish, Roger Strong, and Adam Cole, and it looks like they're going to be going against Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly. Now, to be honest with you, the one thing I think is that this probably would have worked best if NXT War Games hadn't happened yet, because you could have had the 3-team War Games again. You could have had Balor and O'Reilly. You could have had Pete Dunne, like Lorcan or Birch against Strong and Adam Cole. I think that would have worked out pretty cool, but it happens now, so that's obviously not going to happen. In the chat, Debbie the GOAT, NXT trash. Yeah, you really don't like NXT, bro. I noticed that. But yeah, this was an awesome match. Again, I'm gonna give this one an A+. It worked. It was worked so well, and I really enjoyed the match from top to bottom. But it's interesting that, you know, obviously it's pointing to Finn Balor carrying Cross at WrestleMania, but I'm not sure where Pete Dunne falls into this and this whole tag team thing with Kyle O'Reilly, how that's going to work out. It's probably a bridge to WrestleMania week, or maybe Karrion Kross takes on Finn Balor at WrestleMania for the NXT Championship. We could see that as well. There's a lot of cool things that could happen here, but a great match, and it's definitely an early contender for match of the year, you know, because of how good it was. So it was really well done from top to bottom. And, you know, the fact that I guess Undisputed Era are turning heel after they just turned baby faces, you know, not too long ago. Kind of weird how they're gonna flip flop them back and forth. But I guess just Kyle O'Reilly was just performed so well as a singles that they, you know, Triple H decided just let's break him up, and you know, make Kyle O'Reilly his own man now. And we'll see if those tag team matches happen. You know, those 2v2s or, you know, 6-mans. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of interesting ways they can actually go with this going forward. But, you know, the matchup between Finn Balor, Pete Dunne was the match of the night, the best match on the show, an A+ performance from both guys in the ring. And in the end, Finn Balor still your NXT champion, but no Karrion Kross. Like I said, he's going to have his matchup against Santos Escobar this week on NXT. We could see if some stuff pop off eventually after that. But, you know, the NXT champion seems to be preoccupied right at the moment with Adam Cole. So we could see Adam Cole taking on Finn Balor for the NXT championship. There's a lot of ways they can go with it. But again, NXT TakeOver, you already know what the hell you're going to get with NXT TakeOver. Banger after banger after banger for the most part. This was a great show from top to bottom. Tremendous matches. I don't think anything under this, you know, pretty much every match on the show could have been an A. You know, the first match of the show is a couple things here and there. A couple things where, like, you know, they're setting up moves too much. There's too much time in between moves. You can tell they're setting stuff up. That kind of throws me out of it just a little bit when they do that stuff. But for the most part, it was really well done. The show paced very well, finished quickly by 9:30. I mean, it's done. That's awesome to get a show done that fast. So that's really cool. This had to happen. The wrestlers are so good. They should be having matches against each other. Yeah, I guess you're right about that, Eric. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, the show was so really well done, really well paced, really well put together. All the matches were really good. Enjoyed the entire show. It's a nice, quick show to get through. And, you know, NXT just pretty much does not have a bad takeover for the most part. Most of their takeovers are, you know, at least B's. This one was an A+ takeover, one of the better takeovers in recent memory. We'll see what happens in the weeks leading up to the NXT takeover at WrestleMania and what's going to happen this week coming up on Wednesday's show of NXT TV. Should be pretty interesting how they're going to book everything going forward and all that good stuff. So, thank you guys for watching. That's the live stream I have for you guys. My reviews, reactions to NXT Takeover Vengeance Day. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you guys for talking in the chat. Eric, I'll catch you later. Shout out to my cousin Eric for giving me the idea for those that series of videos I have. I have a new one coming out about, you know, former and current talent that WWE has wasted. I did the Elias video. I did the Cody video. Now I'm gonna come out, I believe, with Cesaro this week. So stay tuned for that Cesaro video about how WWE has wasted Cesaro over all these years, and they're giving him a little bit of a push now. But we'll see how that turns out in the future. But I thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys on the